We tend to think about our health in these neat little boxes, right? Heart health is over here and vision health is way over there. But what if they're not separate at all? What if they're deeply connected? Today, we're diving into the really surprising and frankly powerful link between what's happening in your eyes and the health of your heart. So let's take a closer look.
Really think about that question. Could a regular eye exam actually help predict your risk of a heart attack? It sounds a little like science fiction, doesn't it? But it's a question that researchers are taking incredibly seriously. Could the clues to your heart's future be hiding in plain sight? We're going to follow the evidence and find out.
All right, so to get to the bottom of this, we need to look at two absolute giants in the world of health. First, age-related macular degeneration, which we'll just call AMD, and second, cardiovascular disease, or CVD. On the surface, you'd think they have absolutely nothing to do with each other.
Let's just start with the sheer scale of AMD. This isn't some rare condition. It's the #1 reason people over 50 experience severe vision loss. And by 2040, it's projected to affect, get this, a staggering 288 million people around the globe. This is a massive, massive issue.
And then you've got cardiovascular disease. It's not just a leading cause of death. It is the #1 single cause of death for men, for women, worldwide. Its impact is it's unparalleled.
So let's just lay it out. AMD, it messes with a tiny spot in your retina called the macula, basically stealing your sharp central vision. CVD, that's all about your heart and the body's plumbing, the blood vessels, getting clogged up with plaque. One hits your sight, the other hits your circulation. They seem like they're playing in two completely different leagues. But are they?
Okay, so here's our first big clue. This is where the story starts to get really interesting. When you start digging into what causes these two conditions, a really surprising pattern starts to pop up.
Just look at this. The overlap is incredible. Smoking, a huge driver of artery damage, also dramatically increases your risk for AMD. High blood pressure, or hypertension, doesn't just strain your heart, it's also directly linked to damage in the eye. High cholesterol, obesity, and of course, the biggest one for both, just getting older. This is way beyond coincidence. It's like finding the exact same fingerprints at two totally different crime scenes.
This has led scientists to something they call the common soil hypothesis. The idea is that AMD and CVD are like two very different-looking plants, but they're both growing in the exact same unhealthy soil. The underlying problems in the body, the systemic vulnerabilities, are fueling both diseases at the same time. So if they grow from the same soil, is there an actual physical link? Let's go a level deeper now, beyond just shared risks, and look at the biology that literally ties the eye to the heart. And trust me, this is where the story gets really fascinating.
So in the most common form of AMD, eye doctors see these tiny little yellow deposits building up in the back of the eye. They're called drusen. And for a long, long time, we just thought, okay, that's a sign of eye disease.
But here's the kicker. When scientists analyzed what these drusen are actually made of, they found something mind-blowing. Their composition, full of fats and inflammatory stuff, is almost identical to the atherosclerotic plaques that clog up your arteries and cause heart attacks. It's the same gunk in a different place.
And this quote from the research really just nails it. It says we can think of AMD as a localized form of atherosclerosis, or hardening of the arteries, that's specifically happening in the tiny, delicate blood vessels of the eye. It's the same destructive process, just playing out on a much smaller stage.
And this shared biology runs deep. Both diseases are fueled by the same destructive forces. You've got chronic inflammation, which is like this slow, simmering fire causing damage everywhere. Then there's oxidative stress. You can think of that as basically cellular rust. These things create a vicious feedback loop, where damage in your vascular system is reflected by damage in your eyes.
Okay, shared risk factors? Check. Shared biology? Check. That's a really strong case. But what about the hard data? What do the big population studies tell us? Let's look at the numbers.
This is so powerful. When you look at the best kind of studies, the ones that follow people over many years, the results are crystal clear. People with late-stage AMD had a jaw-dropping 66% increased risk of developing cardiovascular disease. The link isn't just a theory, it is statistically undeniable.
And it doesn't stop there. Another huge finding showed that having AMD, either the wet or dry type, is associated with a 1.58-fold, that's a 58% increased risk of heart failure. And what's wild is that this is independent of all the other risk factors. The AMD itself is a major warning sign.
Now this is a really critical piece of the puzzle. The connection gets the strongest when AMD becomes severe enough to actually cause vision loss. It suggests that when the disease in the eye is that advanced, it's a huge red flag that the body's entire vascular system is in serious trouble, which dramatically raises the risk for a heart attack or a stroke.
So after all that, what does this actually mean for you? Let's bring this all home and talk about the real-world takeaway from this incredible eye-heart connection.
The big takeaway is this: your eye is not some isolated organ. It's a window, a literal window into your body's overall vascular health. Because the blood vessels in your retina are so tiny and so easy to see, they give doctors a direct, non-invasive peek at what's going on in arteries and veins all over your body.
And you know what? This is actually fantastic news, because it means we have a unified, two-for-one prevention strategy. The exact same steps you take to protect your heart also protect your vision. Every single thing on this list, quitting smoking, eating a healthy diet, getting active, managing your blood pressure, it all works on both fronts. It's not about choosing one or the other. It's one single game plan for your entire body's health.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? This powerful connection challenges us to see our body as the amazing, interconnected system that it is. And it leaves us with this one last fascinating question. If our eyes can tell us secrets about our heart, what other secrets about our health are just hiding in plain sight? To read more about this topic, please feel free to visit our website at persevita.ca.